Hello. So, thank you for this. And I would like to say that I love this whole engine thing because I definitely think I've been doing that, specifically in my love life. So I opened myself up to love, the vibration of love, and I'm attracting love, which is great. But then I feel like...
There's a lot more to a relationship than love.
Yeah.
You got to share your space.
Yes.
And your stuff. Sometimes you have to go eat where you don't really want to eat.
All that. There's this one person in particular that, I feel compelled. The least resistant thing is being drawn to this person. And we have really great energy. I feel very joyous. But then there's also, it feels like on the other end of that stick, that's shutting off of the circuit. And then the pain that feels of not having that love flow freely. And so what I like to do is just say, okay, I'm going to take massive action and go and cut this off and go in another direction. But then I don't know if that's my inner being or just him liking the chase. It's like reeling me back in. And then we go through this whole cycle again. And so I would really love, I know I'm creating this, and I know I'm creating the experience, the joy, and also the resistance. So my goal, I love, is for you to just take the resistance, like magic. Can you just make it go? I don't need it. I don't need to analyze it. Just goodbye.
Zap. Next.
Yay!
We know that's what you want.
Yes.
Good luck with that. Well, the conversation that we had before is a perfect conversation to precede this conversation, isn't it?
Yes.
So, what do you think causes you to introduce into the equation something that slows it down and makes it so uncomfortable? Why don't you just go with it? You're opening words about it, about how it feels and how you feel called and how delicious it is. Mm-hmm. So what else is happening that doesn't allow that to just be what it is?
Because he does something I don't like. Why can't he just do what I want?
So let us be clear that this is what you want about this individual and about the universe at large. Universe, we'll just talk to the universe first on your behalf because it will be easier for you to understand what we're getting at. Universe, I want you to include in your vastness only things that please me. Is that true? Now, some might say, well, what's the problem with that, Abraham? That just seems like the perfect world to me. So we'll make it clear. Universe, I want you to, in your perfection, deprive me of any contrast that will allow us expansion.
Okay.
Further, universe, I feel that I have evolved as much as I am going to evolve on this topic. So there's no point of me collecting any more data. I'm ready to just cash in my chips and receive back the proportionate experience to what I've amassed so far, and I don't need to accumulate anymore.
Well, I mean, if that would be great if I could just grow without the pain part. I mean, can I just grow with more pleasure?
All right, let's sit in that for just a little bit because everybody agrees with that. That would be all right if I could grow without the pain part. Let's use more accurate words. That would be all right if I could grow without the contrast part. Mm-hmm. So here's the question that we have for you. Does there have to be resistance in contrast? This is the most important question that we've ever asked you. Does there have to be resistance in contrast? Because the contrast is the differences in what you're seeing, but the contrast is you hooking a train on the other end of your train and pulling in opposition to tear yourself apart. It's not the things that he's doing right or wrong that are making you happy or not happy. It's your response to them. It's your reaction to them. It's the resistance that you assign yourself that is causing your discord. So now this is good because you're very forthright with this. So what does that mean to you? So that means, in your words, that means, Abraham, then that means that I have to put up with stuff that I really don't want. And you're telling me that it's my problem, that I just need to feel good anyway? Sometimes people will say to us, Abraham, and if we couldn't feel what you were talking about before, we might be having a different conversation with you than we are. A conversation more about take your time or collect more data and blah, 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 all of that. But the important thing to understand is that you've been putting into this vortex the things that you want for a long time.
Yes.
And there's no possibility that you're ever going to be in a place without contrast. But what you do about the contrast is everything. And most humans in the subject of relationships want to talk about what the other person is going to do in regards to contrast or in regards to resistance, not about what they are going to do. And you can't control what they do, but you can control what you do. So what we're talking about is the difference between flowing energy because you are in alignment and you're feeling the call and reacting to what someone else is doing. Here's the thing. This is a really good way of looking at this. If you've got your train, let's say that it's really loaded down. It's got a really heavy cargo, and it's got a lot of powerful engines on it, and it's moving really, really strong and fast in that direction. And you tack a little opposing engine on it going the other way. This train is not even going to notice that engine pulling in opposition. One time, Jerry and Esther, with their big Prevost monster bus, towed their car behind it with the brakes on. The bus did not even know it was happening. Made no difference. It just turned that car into a sled and pulled it until the wheels were on fire. When there's enough momentum going this way, your resistance becomes less important, you see. But if you're going this way and 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 this way, then your resistance is a bigger factor in your life experience. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would focus upon those delicious positive aspects of which there are so many. And we would not allow ourselves in time, it'll take a little practice, to be a reactor to the things that are bothering you. And one of two things will happen. In other words, it always works itself out. Because sometimes people will say, Abraham, they'll tell us about some relationship that they have, and they'll say, do you think I should leave? And sometimes we say yes, because the truth of it is that law of attraction, when you're looking for harmony and your vortex is full of things that you want, and this other person is really not a vibrational match to a lot of things that you want that are in your vortex, then harmony is doing this. That's harmony. But it doesn't feel like that in this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Well, how much longer do I have to do this? Because it's
forever.
I mean, okay. So with this person, for example, like
when your question is, how long do I have to put up with the discomfort? For as long as you've got those vibrational patterns going on within you. For as long as you think that somebody else needs to make the change in order for you to feel better.
Right. But isn't that relationship? Do you compromise?
Maybe you don't want as much of a domesticated relationship as you think you do.
I've thought of that.
Maybe it's possible to have everything that you both want. So you want this, the other wants this, and let's say it's different. Well, the universe can accommodate both of you completely, and you can live happily ever after. But if you're looking over there at what that one wants, and you're all bound up about it, or the other one's looking over at you and not liking it and all bound up about it. So who's bound up here? Who has the most angst about what the other one is doing? You or?
I think me.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I just allow and just continue?
So when someone says to us, should I go someplace else? And we say, yes, but you'll be taking yourself with you. You'll go and you'll take that tendency with you. So wouldn't it be nice to find a way to be less of a reactionary?
It would be great to be less reactionary. I mean, I'm very all or nothing. When I give fully, I give fully.
Deliberate creators are often that way. But along the way, sometimes, eventually, always, if you are to really be the happy being that you were born to be, you discover that you just cannot be someone who the majority of your vibration comes from your reaction to things, because it makes such a chaotic, wobbly world for you. You're just not going to find enough people to line up with what you want. You just have to be someone who lives in the world, who is dominantly controlling your own point of attraction, but isn't responding to the point of attractions that others are bringing to themselves. It's a sort of understanding that variety is a good thing, not a bad thing. You see, let's just back away from you just a little bit into a broader view of mass consciousness, or we're talking about the collective consciousness of humans who are on your planet today. So many, in fact most, have not reconnected with the fullness of who they are. And just for that reason and that reason alone, they feel more vulnerable. And then in their vulnerability, they become scrutinizers of what's going on around them. They were having reactions to what's going on around them. So they react to that, and they react to that, and they react to that. It's the conditional life that is not serving you very well. It's like, this condition is wonderful, and so I focus upon it, and it makes me feel good, and I love this condition, but that condition doesn't make me feel good. But since I'm a conditional person, because I've trained myself to be, because when I focus on things that make me feel good, I feel good, and so I've trained myself to be conditional, but now I'm faced with things that don't feel good too. So then I've got all this mixed energy going on. Where if you are unconditional, which means it's not these things that you're focusing on first and foremost, it's alignment with source that you're focusing on first and foremost, and you've got that down, now you got a train that's going so fast and that is going to so many beautiful places that it doesn't matter what else you may hook onto it. It is insignificant by comparison with the connection that you've got going on.
That's true, because I just, the vulnerability thing, I was thinking like I want a title. And I read all about attachment theory. I'm like, he's avoidant, he has all these problems committing, and, I want you to commit and tell the whole world, change your Facebook status so everybody knows we're together. Give me some security here. But the very fact that you're asking for security means you're not getting it where you really get it, and you're looking for love in all the wrong places. You're looking for security in all the wrong places. You're looking for it through his behavior, and he's been there before. He knows he cannot jump through enough hoops to make you happy. Not for very long. And so, as others have tried to domesticate him, here's the thing. He wants to be domesticated. He does. He wants so much of what you want. He just doesn't want to be responsible for how you feel all the time. That's true. I'm responsible for my feelings. He's responsible. That's a really great thing. But then you hear people saying, well, girl, then you need to get away from him because he's probably doing something bad. But don't listen to other people. Just align with source.
Well, they won't come around so much if you don't agree with them. Law of attraction isn't even, but it's always fair. If you've got some of that going on within you, then people with those opinions will be around you expressing those opinions to you all the time. But really, look at the alternative. Do you really want to say to someone, I need your undivided attention? We promise you, if he were to give you undivided attention, after a little while, you'd say, I need my space.
I've had that before with other people, and that's true. And I think part of it is the more I'm getting better at consciously creating and creating joyous moments, beautiful moments that surprise me, that the universe comes up with such amazing ways to, surprise and delight all the time, that there's also a little bit of fear that comes with that fear of loss.
What you want to do is present yourself to the universe at large, and certainly to this person, as someone who is easily connected to source energy and easily and mostly feels good, and who is not dependent upon this one subject for your happiness. Because when you feel insecure and then you're depending upon this one subject for your happiness, what happens is they begin to feel bondage. And so as you present yourself, because that's who you are, as someone who can find joy here and here and here, who takes pleasure in this and this and this and this, and of course that, and even mostly in that, but not only in that. Now you've got this balance going on, and now there's no bondage that is being felt.
That's true. That's when we're closest. That's when he feels most.
And so that's what you meant. It's sort of a common thing that I want him until he wants me, and then I don't think I want him quite so much. And he wants me until I want him, and then he doesn't.
Yeah.
So then you get mad, and then he tries to reel you back in. And then in his trying to get you to come back, then you feel better. And we say, how sick is all of that?